Vice President Osinbajo urges youths to embrace virtues of hard work and credibility.
Every great success usually has some stories of many failures.
Southeast Governors Forum pleads with security agencies to protect lives in the geopolitical zone.
An IGP orders 24-hour restriction of vehicular movement in and out of Anambra State on election day.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we continue our conversation on the Anambra governorship election.
Right, 22 years of unbroken civil rule, Nigeria is still grappling with how to deepen our democracy, especially in the conduct of both seasonal and off-cycle elections. Now, beyond choosing political representatives, one would presume that the very essence of conducting elections is, well, to prevent violence, as it were, but it would appear violence and high insecurity implications trail every pre- and post-election here in our country, and indeed everywhere.
Well, that's right, Claire. Now, pre- and post-election violence has been a major feature of our electoral process in recent decades. And we also witness violent clashes, of course, between party supporters in the lead-up to elections. And that's just one of several elements of our democracy that we would need to address.
Indeed, and our democratic process have for quite some time now been marred not only by electoral violence, vote buying, snatching of ballot boxes, hijack of sensitive electoral materials by political thugs, rigging of outcomes which are usually perpetrated by youths and orchestrated by political actors in their bid, of course, to achieve certain ends which may be antithetical to the process.
Now, if you recall, in response to the threats to peace and stability of the nation in the build-up to the 2015 general elections, the National Peace Committee, led by former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar, persuaded contending parties in that election, the incumbent at the time, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and the challenger, now President Muhammadu Buhari, to sign a peace accord, which helped in no small measure in dousing the tension at the time. And since then, the National Peace Committee has been an advocate of peaceful means of settling grievances that may arise in the conduct of elections.
Well, those electoral malpractices that we earlier enumerated appear to have become endemic in our democratic system, such that they seem to have defied all attempts to cleanse the process. But back to the issue at hand, which is the Anambra State governorship election. There are a number of paramount issues in Saturday's election that will need to be addressed. And of course, that the election is conducted peacefully and without violence. That's paramount. That the election is conducted in strict compliance with COVID-19 preventive protocols, again, paramount. That all parties to the election accept the outcome in good faith. Of course, we've seen, Kingsley, yesterday there was a peace, signing of peace accords, which has become routine, during elections like this.
That's right, since 2015, as we indicated. But we also must point out that we have seen dramatic improvements in terms of the conduct of our elections, at least from the side of the electoral umpire, the various measures and means that they have introduced to forestall rigging and other acts of manipulation that would otherwise thwart the will and wishes of voters. Those measures have been yielding results, and we have seen lately how attempts at amending the Electoral Act generated quite some interest with regard to transmission of results electronically. This is part of the ways that INEC has tried to ensure the integrity of the electoral process so that when voters go to the polls, their votes do count. And for those, of course, who are still used to ballot snatching and all of that, the space for their operation is shrinking considerably. What hasn't been fully tamed, of course, is violence that is often unleashed. But we have also seen the saturation of Anambra State with thousands of security operatives. This includes the police, which is usually the lead agency in election matters, the DSS, civil defense, and others. They're all swarming around Anambra State. So,
talking about the issue of missing, electoral materials, yesterday the INEC commissioner emphasized the fact that they have devised a way of, monitoring those vehicles or whatever that, the conveyor of such materials. So the chances of them getting missing along the way, as we said, has been shrinked minimally, or have been blocked. So we expect that from the side of the INEC, things should go well, as they have, said. So we want to believe that those are issues that will not be, in contention as Anambra and the Anambra go to the polls. And of course, there are some of the thrust of our conversation on Good Morning Nigeria this Friday. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Claire Adilabo Abdul Razak. Thank you for joining us.
Herab Kingsley Osadolo, I join my colleague Claire to also welcome you to the program live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. In the course of the program, we have our regular complimentary segments, including newspaper review and others. For now, here is Dennis Adegunloye with the highlights of the morning news. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Kingsley, and good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria. Here is the morning news. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has appealed to Nigerian youth to rededicate themselves to the virtues of hard work, diligence, and credibility. He made this appeal in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
If you can be trusted, if people find you trustworthy, the class of degree you have will not matter. Everybody is looking for a trustworthy person to partner with or to employ as you step out into the world. Never be afraid to try. Never be afraid of failure. Every great success usually has some stories of many failures. Don't let the past tie you down.
Southeast governors are asking security agencies deployed for the Anambra governorship election to provide adequate security cover during the exercise. In a statement, the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, and others thanked the federal government and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for their determination to hold the election as scheduled on the 6th of November 2021. The governors assured of every support to ensure a free, fair, and violence-free election. They asked eligible voters in Anambra State to go out and vote for candidates of their choice, adding that they have realized that the insecurity in the southeast has gone beyond the prescribed IPOB, but that cultists, armed robbers, and kidnappers have entered the mix using the name of the prescribed group. The Southeast Governors Forum says it has also identified some of the spokespersons of various agitators issuing illegal orders of sit at home in the region and is working to address the problem. The group appreciates the Ohaneze Ndigbo religious leaders and the Christian Association of Nigeria for their interventions and mediation roles. And as part of measures aimed at protecting the sanctity of the electoral process in the November 6, 2021 Anambra State governorship election, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the restriction of vehicular movements in and out of Anambra State from Friday 11:59 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Saturday. The IGP noted that the restriction order has become necessary following pointers from the Election Security Threats Assessments conducted by the force, which indicates the likelihood of infiltration by criminally minded individuals to Anambra State before, during, and after the polls. The IGP further noted that the measure would also avail security forces a firm grip of the state to checkmate the movement of political thugs and touts and prevent the free flow, circulation and use of illicit arms and hard drugs throughout the period and beyond. He acknowledged that police officers and other security personnel deployed for the election will be appropriately supervised to ensure they carry out their responsibilities in the most humane, firm and professional manner, especially to those providing essential services. The IGP calls on citizens in the state to go out en masse on election day and exercise their franchise without any fear or apprehension, as the force and other security agencies are already on ground to ensure a safe and conducive environment for the elections. At the National Assembly, the House of Representatives Committee on Culture and Tourism is set to investigate the shortfall in the 2021 budget allocation for the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Chairman of the committee, Omoregie Ogbede Ihama, announced this when Information and Culture Minister Ala Mohammed appeared before the committee to defend the ministry's 2022 budget proposal, as well as to give account of its 2021 budget performance.
I proposed 3 billion and they took 1.1 billion out of it. And by that, I was paralyzed completely. There was nothing I could do. And of course, the National Assembly is like a Supreme Court. Once they give a verdict, there's no other court to appeal to. So I'm extremely, distressed.
Your budget, as proposed last year, did not leave the committee with anything more than 5% alteration.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has assured the public that it has petroleum products that will last beyond the Yuletide period. Garabadin Mohammed, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of the NNPC, says the assurance became necessary to stop motorists from engaging in panic buying, which is common towards the end of the year.
But they don't start already. Since last yesterday, scarcity don't start. But it never too much like that.
There's nothing of first scarcity for now, because just 30 minutes away, I just entered the station and buy fuel and came out. There's nothing like queue of first scarcity in Abuja here for now.
I appeal to Nigerians to please not give in to speculators. There is sufficient supply of petroleum products to last us through this season and beyond.
And that concludes the morning news. Good morning, Nigeria. On the Anambra State governorship elections continues with Claire and Kingsley after this break. Have a good day.
It's Good Morning Nigeria still on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. It's time for business news, with experts in agribusiness projecting that Nigeria has the potential to earn some $3 billion annually from cassava processing and exports if improved varieties are cultivated. Here is our correspondent, Alika Okpanachi Aruwa, with details.
The cultivation of cassava, an indispensable food crop in Nigeria, is still largely driven by small-scale farmers using rudimentary implements. Experts at this national summit on private sector-driven cassava seed development advocate increased cultivation of disease-free cassava varieties, mechanized processing, and greater engagement of the youth as game changers for value addition and wealth creation.
Cassava has got a very wide demand, talking about the leaves as a vegetable, talking about the roots of the cassava as an industrial material, talking about the roots also being used for fuel, talking about the roots being used for feed, and the root being used also for food.
Others believe a policy framework will scale up cassava production and business prospects.
Our vision is a situation whereby the average farmer is realizing not less than 25 to 30 tons per hectare, a situation whereby we are able to satisfy the needs of the food market, and at the same time we are having produce go into the industries.
Nigeria has all the good soils, the ecologies to grow cassava. Nigeria can become such a wonderful player in the global cassava market.
There are expectations that training and empowerment of smallholder farmers will help Nigeria meet an average seasonal demand of 6 million bundles of cassava stems to cultivate on 100,000 hectares of farmland. With business news, Alika Okpanachi Aruwa.
All right, welcome back. It's time for newspaper review in a moment.
Bayo Toyobia, newspaper reviewer, is right here with us in the studios. Bayo, morning and welcome.
Thank you, Kingsley. Good morning. Good morning, Claire.
Friday, Bayo.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right.
Okay, we have the Leadership and the Nation newspaper. Beginning with the Nation newspaper. Above the nameplate, you have the following headlines. Benue, that's Benue State to court. Account freezing cripples governance. That's page 27. 360,000 download e-Naira's speed wallet app. 360,000 download e-Naira speed wallet app. 5G operators reject this is saying 1.9 million, that figure is not correct, spectrum fee. $1.9 million spectrum fee. That figure is not correct. I think there's a typo there. Now, Transcorp's PBT, that's profit before tax, grew by 671% in Q3. Anambra 2021, you have a number of headlines relating to that headline. IPOB rather, we didn't order 1 week sit at home. NBC, that's Broadcasting Commission, warns against scary broadcast. INEC begins distribution of sensitive materials. The lead story, of course, is coming from Ikoyi in Lagos, from the unfortunate incident of a building collapse. Says body of collapsed Lagos building owner retrieved. Body of collapsed Lagos building owner retrieved. Death toll rises to 33. Families register 19 missing persons. You can see the photographs there from the scene, as well as, of course, the photograph of the late chief executive of the property developer, Mr. Femi Oshibono. Now, you have some other riders regarding the collapse structure. There are details about the man Femi Oshibono. 5 survivors in high spirits. 3-day mourning declared by the Lagos State government begins, and flags to fly at half-mast. Pro panel promises thorough job. And then you also have a headline there, Okonkwo, Soludo, Uba, Ozigbo pledge peaceful Anambra poll. Candidates sign peace pact. Court orders EFCC to pay man 5 million naira for declaring him wanted. That's page 5. Clear.
All right, Kingsley, thank you. I think most of the stories you read are also on the front page of the Leadership. I'll just pick out a few that are not on your paper. The lead story on the front page is on budget. Federal Ministry, Finance Ministry, beg your pardon, budgets 130.5 billion naira for special interventions in 2022. Now, the riders to that, as Works Ministry allocates 2.3 billion naira for construction of classrooms. Now, CSOs raise concerns over omnibus vote for non-specified projects and infrastructure. Now, the other stories are Abuja attack. We are traumatized. Can't go to class. ASU. You want to read out all the details of that story. It's on page 7. Now, Pandora Papers. We are monitoring public officers. CCB. That's Code of Conduct Bureau. That story is trending at the foot of the paper. And technologists to shut down labs, research centers, over 22 billion naira earned allowance. Details of that on page 9. Okay, Bio.
Yeah, just before Bio comes in, Claire, you know, I was saying earlier that the figure on the front page of the Nation newspaper is erroneous. That's above the nameplate, where they are saying 5G, that's the auction, that operators are rejecting $1.97 million spectrum fee. That figure is not correct, but inside at page 7, where the story is in greater detail, that's their business section, the correct figure is stated here. It's $197.4 million.
Double.
All right, Bio.
Devil's
Printer's devil.
Yeah, well, professionally we say printer's devil, okay? Well, let's start with the updates. Lagos State has declared 3 days mourning over the 21-story building that collapsed at Gera Road, Ikoyi. During the period, the flags are to fly at half-staff, and official engagements has remained cancelled. Rescue mission is still ongoing. The governor says, as at the last time he reported, 1 p.m. yesterday, 32 bodies have been recovered. The Lagos State government has commiserated with the families of those who lost ones in the unfortunate incident. Among the bodies retrieved so far is the owner of the premise, Mr. Femi Oshibona, the developer and managing director of Foursquare Heights, and his US-based friend, Mr. Wale Bob Osheni. He was said to be on his way to the airport, but the owner had called him to make a detour to the project. Unfortunately, they were caught up in the collapse on the 18th floor and they didn't survive it. Meanwhile, relatives of victims are anxious to recover the bodies. Governor Sanwo-Olu has said that autopsy will be conducted on the bodies before they will be released to persons. Other running story, University of Abuja, the Academic Staff Union of Nigeria University Abuja branch says lecturers are finding it difficult to continue academic activities because of the trauma of the kidnap and the invasion of the university. The ASU chapter chairman, Dr. Kasim Umar, says they want an urgent construction of perimeter fence around the premises. They also demand the rescue of the kidnapped within 24 hours. They said they want all illegal occupants of the university land ejected. And they said the living quarters of the staff were built during the presidential Shagari era. And in fact, it was originally meant to be a police barrack, but was converted to a temporary hostel accommodation for university lecturers. The 17 political parties who are due to contest the governorship election in Anambra tomorrow have signed a peace accord to ensure free, fair, and credible election. Former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar said members of the National Peace Committee are in Anambra to contribute to an Anambra election devoid of violence. He declared, "We cherish Anambra State and we cherish the peace and unity of Nigeria. We call on candidates, parties, and supporters to accept the outcome of the vote as long as it is judged to be free, fair, and credible." INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu assured the Commission had concluded all plans to ensure a hitch-free election. INEC commenced distribution of sensitive materials to the 21 local governments of Anambra State yesterday. 7 resident electoral commissioners are in Anambra. Each one is to take charge of 3 local government areas. The police has deployed 34,587 personnel. There are 17 contestants who signed the peace accord, and they are enjoined not to resort to violence but follow judicial processes. Meanwhile, Daily Trust has reported that following the heavy deployment of security personnel in Anambra, the proscribed separatist group IPOD had cancelled the illegal one-week stay at home that it had proclaimed. The paper reports that the group made a U-turn from threats to disrupt the election unless its leader was released. They now urge residents to go out en masse and vote in Saturday's governorship election. The police says they have deployed 34,587 personnel to ensure that people can come out freely and vote. The Nigerian army has hinted that IPOB, the Eastern Security Network, and the Biafra National Guard are responsible for arson and killings in the Southeast. The Southeast governors also say that armed robbers and hoodlums are behind the attacks and they blame it all on IPOB. Meanwhile, Governor Babagana Zulum paid a surprise visit to a health center in Gwange in Maiduguri yesterday. He boarded a bus. He invited the Commissioner of Health. They boarded the bus and drove there. And what did they discover? They found that health officials collect between 5,000 to 8,000, in fact 8,000 to 10,000 from patients before they provide service for treatment like simple malaria. And so he has directed that disciplinary action should be taken against them. Also, a public servant was jailed by the Maiduguri High Court for 28 years. He was found guilty of engaging in contract fraud worth of about 86.1 million naira.
Okay, all right, Bayo, thanks. There are 2 issues, in my view. One relating to the collapse structure in Lagos. It's still pretty sad, what is happening, and the human dimension to the tragedy is just unfolding. But you see, there's something, maybe it's a shorthand way of saying it. Mr. Oshibono, late Oshibono, since his body has been recovered, is frequently referred to as the owner of the building, the owner of the building. He was CEO of the company. CEO of the company. Because when you say owner, it means it's his direct and personal property. It's possible that he's a majority shareholder, but that also draws attention to the way companies are run in Nigeria. Mostly, when you have companies, they just devolve into a one-man business. Because the question, therefore, would be, if you had a proper company and you had a proper board of directors, and some of the concerns that were raised by the structural engineer consulting for the project, what would have been the decision of the board? Would the board have said, look, proceed with this project, or let's listen to the caution by the structural engineer? So it's the way we organize our businesses, and then when we get into mega contracts or mega jobs, unfortunately, what has happened now sometimes will happen, and which is why you find that in the majority of cases, some of these businesses, I'm not talking about this particular business, they don't last. Because they are just, one-man business, and it's your decision, it's what you say that matters, and everybody else takes it. But when you have a viral board, on the basis of corporate governance, some of these points can be obviated. Claire.
Yes, okay, Bayo, thank you. Our correspondent is already standing by waiting for us to go to Anambra State. Okay. So we wish you a pleasant weekend, Bayo.
Thank you very much.
All right. This is Good Morning Nigeria. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. This is Good Morning Nigeria. Let's quickly join our correspondent, Mia Ugidi, who is standing by at the INEC headquarters office in Oka, the Anambra State capital. He has an update for us. Hello, Mia.
Good morning, Claire.
Kinsley?
All right, Mia, give us a situation report. Is Anambra ready for the elections tomorrow?
Yes, we are at the INEC headquarters of Anambra State, Kingsley, and let me just take us down the memory lane a bit. On the 29th of January this year, INEC announced the conduct of the governorship election in Anambra State on the 6th of November, and 14 items were, slated for this thing execution, as it were, and as of midnight, Thursday midnight, the 13th of it was concluded. That is, the campaigns are over. So we just have one item, that is the elections, and it will hold tomorrow. And this is also another test for the so much talked about BVAS, that is the Biometric Voters Authentication System. This is a collapse of about 3 electronic devices into one. There will be no permanent voter, smart card reader, no Z-pad, and no direct data capture, because the BVAS takes care of facial capturing, as well as because there is a camera in it, it can capture the voter and also read the card reader to ensure that it matches with the facials on the card. And secondly, the camera can capture polling unit results and transmit same to the INEC result portal. And INEC has already released the portal in which citizens can get real-time results. And the portal is INECelectionresults.com. I repeat, INECelectionresults.com. Once you click there, you fill in your data, create your own password, and you will be at home getting updates of results as they come in. And the advantage of this is that there will be no snatching of or waylaying of returning officers, because whatever you do, probably the result is already in the public domain. That is by the way. And in terms of your question whether INEC is prepared, yes, they have. If you look behind me, you can see sophisticated military hardware here and sniffer dogs. My sister here is already taking care of one ahead of the tomorrow event. And if you look at the left-hand side of me, you see a fire service truck. You recall that sometime this year, this office was attacked, and So based on that, I think they are all prepared to in case of an eventuality. And even inside, you can see ad hoc staff already prepared. And the distribution is no longer ongoing here. In terms of non-sensitive materials, they have all been distributed to the 21 local governments. And let me even quickly tell you that we drove for about 2 to 3 kilometers before to the INEC office, and obviously, as you can see, we are not sitting at home, Kingsley.
All right, Mia, we know that the road infrastructure in that part, not just Anambra, in the eastern zone, it's not quite what you would say smooth. So I'm wondering, in terms of preparation, yes, we've seen that INEC is ready with material distribution. It has distributed to 21, LGAs. What about getting those materials to the, end point on time? It has been a traditional challenge for INEC. Do you think that will be a thing of the past in tomorrow's election?
Okay, Claire, it's breaking slightly, but if I can get you well, INEC, about 5,702 polling units in Anambra State. Initially it was 4,602 polling units, but with the creation of additional polling units, we have 1,112 polling units were created. That to add up with the 4,602, then we have a total of 5,720 polling units in Anambra State. And INEC, to avoid snatching of ballot election materials, they don't distribute those things straight to the local government, the non-sensitive materials. They distribute them straight to the wards ahead of the election. And if what Festus Okoye told me yesterday is anything to go by, then all of them have been safely delivered. And the ad hoc staff, as we are talking, if you can capture those people coming there, these are ad hoc staff also. You're back here. These are ad hoc staffs also coming to the INEC office to go to their various polling units. So non-sensitive materials to the polling units, but ad hoc staff, they are still going, especially those that are close to the city center.
All right, Mia, the Anambra State government declared yesterday, Thursday, and today work-free. What has been the mood in Awka, the state capital, where you are?
Okay, the mood is a kind of mixed bag. I won't say the streets are very busy, and I won't also say the streets are empty. Comparatively, is average. The traffic is not that much, and I think because of most of the people in the city are from various local governments and communities, so probably they must have gone to their various states, because yesterday and today have been declared as public holidays, so to enable them go to their various local governments. But it's not related. The near emptiness of the streets this morning is not attributed to any sit-at-home order, because movement is very okay. And we are also told that that has been suspended as well.
Have you picked up any reports of any incident? In this case, we're looking at violence on the eve of voting itself, because that had been a primary concern of observers of this very tense election.
For now, we have not had any reported case of violence, but I think the major issue here is the issue of fake news, speculations. Yesterday, a colleague of mine forwarded a video to me, audio video anyway, that alleging that IPOB will close down all the hotels in Awka latest 6 o'clock, and if any one is lodging in hotels in Awka should consider himself off. But fortunately, till this morning, nothing. And so I think the perception and the apprehension being created in Anambra is highly attributable to fake news.
Okay, I just would like to know, because this is one election that has come with a lot of tension, like you say, fake news and misinformation. Looking at the press, the media coverage, I'm sure we've got a barrage of them in Anambra at the moment.
Come again, Claire, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about the number of pressmen, of media in the state to cover this election. Are there more than, the usual, I suspect?
Okay, the media is given unfettered access. Even this morning we came to the INEC headquarters. All what the security men could do, and I think they did the right thing, was to get ID cards. Okay, NTA, you can go. And even this morning, I asked them to open part of the, take that picture for me, part of the gate for me in case I want to pan and get any shot. And they willingly opened. This is not how it should be, but for the sake of the media, they said, okay, they will open part of the gate for us. So after now, they will close it. This is just a clear example of how cooperative the security can be in this media coverage.
All right, Mia Ogidi, it looks like the grounds around you there are wet. Perhaps it rained a couple of hours ago. And we do hope that the elements will be friendly tomorrow as Anambra voters go out to choose their next governor. Correspondent Mia Ogidi joining us live from Awka, the Anambra state capital. Mia, do take care of yourselves. Of course, we'll get updated reports from you in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you.
All right, Kinsley, back here in the studio, we have seated with us the Director of Research Center for Democracy and Development, Dr. Saeed Hussaini. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have joining us from Awka via Zoom, Ezenwa Nwagu. Ezenwa Nwagu is Chairman, Partners for Electoral Reforms and convener, Say No Campaign Nigeria. Mr. Ezenwa Nwagu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Festus Okoye is also there via Zoom, joining us from Awka. He is the National Commissioner, Voter Education and Publicity, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Thank you very much, Mr. Okoye, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. We will have, if it's there already, the director, all right, my colleague Claire, just you can see on the screen now, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, Zaki Ahmed, DIG Zaki Ahmed, of course, is leading the police team for the security of the Anambra State Governorship election. DIG Zaki Ahmed, our pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning. Security of the Anambra State Governorship election. DIG. So while we await his response, you can see him on the screen. I'm sure that the audio will be sorted out. My colleague Claire has some news for our viewers.
Yes, and this is good news just coming in. It's breaking news. We have reports that from the FCT Police Command that they six abducted persons from the University of Abuja staff quarters have been rescued early this morning. Again, the abducted 6 persons from the University of Abuja staff quarters have been rescued early this morning. FCT Police Command has confirmed, and will bring you details as soon as we continue to have them. Good news once again, the FCT Police Command has confirmed the rescue early this morning of 6 abducted persons at the University of Abuja staff quarters. And that's the breaking news. Again, we'll continue to give you details as we have them.
And we just also must emphasize that one of the abducted persons is a professor of economics at the University of Abuja. So as my colleague Claire has said, good news that they have been rescued. All right, let's see if DIG Zaki Ahmed's audio is okay now. Okay, we understand there's some slight delay in getting back to us. DIG Zaki Ahmed, if you can hear us, once again, would like to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. Tell us, what is the situation report? Is all area, you normally would say, is everywhere calm, or you're having some reports of disturbances?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I can assure you all our areas they remain calm. We have made adequate deployment as directed by Inspector General of Police, IGP Alkali Baba Osman. We have dominated public space, as I have said. We are guaranteeing the security and safety of all citizens because measures have been in place to take care of their security. We have employed several measures to guarantee this safety and security. We have robust patrols all around the state capital and other local governments of the state. And I think we are also conducting stop and search to ensure that criminals are not given any chance to infiltrate to areas they are not supposed to be. And we are taking even the battle to their hideouts. We are raiding all criminal hideouts and black spots. So I think the citizens can see for themselves the level of security in all the counties of the state. And we are collaborating with other security agencies. We have a robust synergy, collaboration, jointness, and togetherness. We are working hand in hand with all the security agencies to ensure that this election is well secured. Citizens are given the chance to exercise their civic responsibility and ensure that none of them is disenfranchised.
The restriction of vehicular movement, there are exceptions. There are people that are exempted from this, and if so, who are those people and what are the conditions?
Well, those who are exempted are the security agencies and those who are participating in the elections, that is the election staff, the INEC staff, the observers, national and international, and the journalists, media practitioners. So these are the group of people who are exempted. Others are restricted from going in and out of places they are not supposed to be.
Okay, DIG Zaki Ahmed, let me just repeat my earlier question. What is the security situation report? Have there been skirmishes, or you are mopping up elements who were about fomenting trouble? Is everywhere calm?
Everywhere is calm. There's no cause for alarm at all. As I told you, we are working hand in hand with other security agencies. All hands are on deck to ensure that there is security. And we have also gone out to sensitize people and to one criminal element that we are on ground and that will not spare anyone who wants to foment trouble. And we are taking the battle to the hideout, as I said. So we leave no stone unturned in ensuring that this exercise is well protected.
The DIG, is there anything new that you are doing, to give the people, the Indian Nambaras, confidence to really come out and cast their votes? And I ask this question because of the threats to life, because of the sit-at-home threats or command issued, and again because of the so-called militarization of the area. Is there anything extra that you and your men are doing to give the people the vote of confidence to come out?
I think, like I said, we have been sensitizing the people, and people can see for themselves. Your staff here can actually confirm what is on the ground. So we have dominated all the public space, and all the nook and crannies of the state are dominated by security personnel. Both exits and entry points are well covered. So the criminal element have no place in infiltrating the state to commit any havoc.
All right, DIG Zaki Ahmed, you're in charge of operations, of course, at Force Headquarters, and this is a special assignment for you and your colleagues. We wish you the very best and do hope that all turns out well. And we have the opportunity of speaking with you again post-election, I imagine, on Good Morning Nigeria. So DIG Zaki Ahmed, thank you for being with us on Good Morning Nigeria today. All right, now we earlier introduced Festus Okoye, who is National Commissioner in charge of voter education and publicity at INEC, and also Ezenwa Wango, our regular analyst on Good Morning Nigeria, his chairman, Partners for Electoral Reforms. Beginning with Mr. Festus Okoye, National Commissioner for INEC. Mr. Festus Okoye, well, tell us, are you ready for tomorrow's election in Anambra?
Yes, the commission is ready. As you pointed out, on the 19th day of January 2021, the commission released the timetable and schedule of activities for this particular election. And we've been following the timetable and schedule of activities. We have not even missed a single one. So as of today, out of the 14 items on that particular list, we have accomplished 13. So the 14th item revolves around the elections tomorrow. Now, yesterday, we moved all these sensitive materials out of the central bank in Oka. And the movement was witnessed by representatives of civil society groups and organizations, the various political parties, and the media. So all the sensitive materials moved to the 21 local government areas of Anambra State yesterday. We also moved the bimodal voter accreditation system to all the 21 local government areas of Anambra State yesterday. And from the information available to me, all the sensitive materials arrived safely because they were accompanied by representatives of political parties and the various security agencies. We have also mobilized our ad hoc staff ready for this particular election. And 2 weeks ago, the non-sensitive materials were deployed to the various local governments, and they have been sorted in accordance with the 326 registration areas in Anambra State. So in relation to this particular election, the commission is ready, and we are raring to go.
Okay, let me also ask you how to define this readiness. I know you've talked about the disbursement of the sensitive materials and all that, but INEC has also, have to deal with the issue of late commencement of voting, even on the D-Day. So is that going to be, has that been taken care of? I hope we're not going to experience issues of maybe missing, materials, non-arrival of materials, late commencement of voting at different centers.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I want you to talk to us about commencement of voting on the D-Day. It has always been an issue, during elections. Has that also been taken care of?
I'm still having challenges with the issue of interference.
I don't know. Yeah, Claire, I don't know. He has some audio issues there. Mr. Festus Okoye, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Well, maybe there's a special connection from my audio to yours. But I think my colleague Claire will have the opportunity of asking her question. But tell us, in terms of the conduct of the Anambra governorship election, what is unique from the perspective of INEC? In other words, what is the new thing that you are introducing to this election?
this particular commission introduced so many innovations in the electoral process, especially in the use of technology. Now, what we have done is that we created or converted 1,112 voting points into 3 flex polling units. These polling units will come in.
If you can hear me, it looks like there is a television set in your room, and the volume is up. Maybe you have to, not maybe, you'll have to reduce the volume of the TV set considerably, so that the echo or reverberation that is interfering with your response can be eliminated. If that is so, just proceed again with your response to my question, namely, what is new that INEC is introducing in this election?
Hello, I didn't get that.
So, okay, Mr. Okoye, our engineers will liaise with you on the best way to minimize or eliminate the echo or reverberation coming from your end. Ezewa Wago, you are right there also via Zoom with us from Oka, I believe, unless you are at Unewi or Nature, where you are monitoring this. We understand you've been around Anambra for a while now. What have you been picking up?
Well, thank you. I've been around Oka and been participating in different trainings for our observers, both for YAG Africa and for the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. Those trainings have been completed and they've been very effective. And as we speak, we are also ready for elections. Yesterday, we collected our kits from the Independent National Electoral Commission, and as at this morning, the last batches of those kits have been sent out to the observers in the 21 local governments. Like your reporter in Oka said, one of the biggest threats to the Saturday election has been more of intentional, if you like, deliberate scaremongering. Scaremongering that is sometimes you really wonder where those things, because I've told friends that I've had the opportunity to talk with that the worry for this election seems to me to be more outside of Anambra State than within Anambra State. And I say that purposely because, as you know, ordinarily during elections, movements are restricted generally because people will have to walk from their houses to the polling units. And as we speak now, those polling units have been made more friendlier in that they have been brought a little closer home to people. And most of the people who will be voting will not need to travel. The challenge for traveling will be for those of us who have to rove around to see what's going to happen. So, and having moved around myself in the last 1 week within Anambra State, from Oka to Newi to Onitsha and the rest of the places, I am confident that we will have a good election on Saturday.
Okay, Mr. Nwago, let me also ask you. I'm sure you've had interactions with, some of the Anambras. What are their thoughts? What's the mood like? The people, among the people, are they enthusiastic? Are they enthusiastic about coming out to vote?
Well, it's mixed because let's not pretend about it. The whole propaganda is deep, and many people are responding to it in different ways. But the last few weeks there has been a lot of sensitization, voter education, one-on-one, and the political parties themselves. Like I said, about 18 of them are in this process, and they are the main actors in the election. They have not said that there is no conducive environment for them to have this election. So moving around, when you talk to people, there are people who are looking forward to the election. There are others who are still talking about it. But that's not completely new, because we also, though not with the same intensity, but we faced this in 2017, if you could recall. There was also this threat about the election will not hold. And what we have continued to do is to say, look, it's important that Anambra people are determined to vote, and it's important for them to realize and understand why they have to vote. So that conversation is deep and is getting down into. But and honestly speaking, we trained 500 observers, and as at the last count, 499 of those observers were still in touch with them, and that is 99% for that's the observers of YAG Africa. And I know also that for the situation, there has not been any changes in terms of those who have signed in to be part of these elections. So sometimes I really wonder if the observers that we have are ready to participate, and we don't bring observers from outside of Anambra State. The observers are indigenous. They come from their places. If they themselves are willing and enthusiastic to participate, then we're upbeat that we're going to have elections. But although you can also look at the history of Anambra, that historically, like I've said, they have very low turnout in elections. We've never, in 2017, I think it was between 22% and 25% turnout. So we're hoping and praying that the Anambra people will come out this time around to show that they understand why they have to come and vote this Saturday.
Mr. Zenwa, just one more question from me. How important would you say is this election, especially to our democratic process?
How important is
this Anambra election? Why must this Anambra election hold peacefully?
Well, it's important because there are, in 5 months' time, thereabouts, you have to have a new governor. If you don't have a new governor, the constitution is clear about what that will mean, and I'm not sure that stakeholders in Anambra are prepared for that. I think that everybody in Anambra understands that it's important that you have a government that is elected by the people of Anambra. Otherwise, what you will have is that somebody will be imposed on them, and at that point in time, the laws that would take effect will not be one that will be so much friendly for the people of Anambra. And I think they understand that. So it's important that we have peaceful elections. And Anambra ordinarily, historically, is not so known so much for electoral violence. I think we need to underscore that the threats have been sometimes extraneous. We know that they are litigious people. They like to go to courts and resolve their issues. But in the election, history of election in Anambra State, there is not so much in terms of electoral violence. So we want to ride on that and continue to plead with Anambra people to keep that up, to ensure that. And yet, yesterday, when the DIG that represented the Inspector General of Police at the peace accord signing event yesterday in Awka, the DIG reiterated the fact that, being himself from Anambra, understanding the history of his own people, that they are not violent people, and I concur with that, and that's what I continue to plead with the people of Anambra, to shame those people who think that they want to put a slur on that positive election history that they have.
Well, thanks again also for reiterating this perspective as to the place of violence in Anambra elections. One of the governorship candidates who was our guest on Good Morning Nigeria earlier in the week stated that point and buttressed it, of course, with facts. But I was just wondering, I mean, you're a veteran of observing a number of off-cycle and general elections. Off-cycle, whether Kogi, Bayelsa, Edo, Ondo, Ekiti, and Osun states. What, in your opinion, are the... Now, all right, everyone, we understand you're off in the meantime, so we'll come back to our studios. Dr. Saeed Husseini, of course, you've been kept on pause while we were trying to get our connections to the other guests who are with us from remote locations. What's your reading of the Anambra election? I mean, one point to underscore is what Ezenwa said today. We had a guest yesterday, Cynthia Umbamalu, who is also a regular on Good Morning Nigeria. She's of Yaga, Africa. And the point appears to be that those who are outside Anambra are probably misreading the mood in Anambra in terms of the lead-up. Everyone is harping on violence, violence, violence. But those who are inside do not appear to have that same level or intensity of apprehension.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think I'll echo a lot of what Mr. Ezenwa has said. I think that one cannot overemphasize the necessity for peace. So that's one area in which there's agreement, both within the state capital, Oka, and in Anambra more generally, and here in Abuja or elsewhere in the country where observers have been paying attention to developments in Anambra. So at the CDD, I think our major message is to sue for peace across the variety of stakeholders that are involved in bringing this election together. I think the other point to emphasize that my colleague raised, Mr. Ezenwa raised, is the question of how voters will respond. So yes, it's true that there has been some amount of consternation and concern across the country in the lead up to these elections, and even though some of it is very rightfully can be blamed on disinformation and some level of alarm, there have been genuine concerns as a result of the actions of non-state armed groups. But I think, yeah, it's important to once again urge voters to not be intimidated by any threats to their franchise, and while remaining vigilant to ensure to exercise their franchise, because the issue of low voter turnouts that have historically plagued elections in the state is really one that we ought to start thinking about how we can resolve.
Okay, the concept of signing peace accords seems to have come to stay. I don't know, does it indicate some kind of, I don't want to use underdevelopment, some kind of misunderstanding of the democratic process? What really does it tell us about our ability to deepen our democracy?
Well, I'd say a couple of things there. I think one is to acknowledge the fact that we are still early in the process of the democratic experience. I mean, in the case of Nigeria, this is the longest stretch of unbroken democracy that we've had in our history, and that's 20 years. Whereas, of course, in the global community, there are countries that have been democracies for hundreds of years plus. So the fact that we still see candidates needing to sign peace accords or to affirm their commitment to peace, I think does reflect that democracy is an ongoing process, and that there's learning that can occur, and it's a process indeed, and not a destination. And this is even the case in the countries where you've seen hundreds of years of experience with democracy. So the peace accords themselves, I think, are not necessarily a bad thing, and to the extent that candidates take that commitment beyond mere rhetoric, I think it does strengthen and deepen the experience, the practice of democracy.
Okay, Dr. Husseini, thanks a lot. We are going back to Festus Okoye, who is with us from Oka, the Anambra State capital. Mr. Festus Okoye, before we lost the connection to your end, I asked you what was unique about what INEC is doing with regard to the Anambra election, whether to enhance the integrity, whether to enhance the fairness or the freeness of the election? What is the new thing that INEC